Good morning, Bella Vista. JB Portillo here with Bella Vista Community Television. And I would like to introduce to you, although I think we did this last month before you were official, our new mayor, John Flynn. Good morning,
Thank
John.
you. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
great to be here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we have a new name for your show, In with Flynn. Thank you for that. I think that was a great idea. It was kind of based off of In like Flynn, but with Flynn works better for your show, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before anybody gets excited and asks, you want to just tell us that, are you practicing on being a pirate or what?
Yeah, I did have some minor surgery on Monday. It was a basal cell carcinoma, which is the least serious kind, so it's not really too serious. It looks more dynamic than it is, I guess. So.
Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's do a quick little update for the citizens of Bella Vista on who is John Flynn and how did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I moved to Northwest Arkansas in 1996 to be general counsel of Daisy, the BB gun company. Mm-hmm. And then in 2005, my wife Linda and I moved up to Bella Vista, and we've just loved it here. I was working as a corporate attorney when I moved up here, and in 2011 I retired from that. And for the last 10 years or so, I taught at University of Arkansas, and I was on city council for 8 years. Then I was general counsel, or I was head of the chairman of the Benton County Board of Equalization, which they do real estate tax appeals for the county. So that was kind of interesting. I got to know a lot of the county officials and whatnot and really enjoyed that. So after being on city council 8 years, I thought it'd be a good idea to run for mayor. And of course, during the campaign, I got to meet with a lot of the citizens and hear what they were interested in and what they were concerned about. So, I feel real good about where Bella Vista is right now. And, Peter Christie, a lot of times kind of getting lame duck status near the end, and he did a great job of keeping the things together, and we're in really good shape financially, and we have a really good leadership team, in the various departments. The leading people are really strong. So he left me with a pretty good situation.
Yes.
He was concerned there may be a recession in this year, in 2023, and a lot of the top economists think that may be the case. But I think Bella Vista and Northwest Arkansas are in really good position to weather that if that's the case. Even with the interest rates going up and whatnot, there's still interest in people moving here, and still some building going on even. So I think we're going to, no matter what happens, I think we're going to do better than most of the country economically.
Yes. So. Well, with a good team and a good starting point, all you can do is go upward, right?
Yeah.
Upward and onward.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to do for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you had your first work session, I believe, last night.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, it was kind of interesting. We put the agenda together, and the attorney told me that before the meeting, it was an all-time record. We had 23 items on the agenda.
Yes.
So it's just amazing how much is going on. A lot of it was new equipment for the police department, fire department, for the streets department, and then we had a bunch of zoning things on there. So it was just a mixed bag of and a few things where we are appointing people. And of course, that was just the work session. Next week, next Monday, will be the actual meeting when we take action. But it was, and of course, we had a couple of new people on council, and we had a brand new city clerk, Wanda Krug, who it's kind of baptism by fire, because she puts together the agenda, and with 23 items, it was quite a lengthy process.
Absolutely.
So, but I think she's going to be great, and the new folks on council are very enthused. So I have a good feeling about it.
I think you have a very diverse council now. You've got some younger folks from different backgrounds coming in on board, and the few people still there that have the history of what's going on. So it looks like a really good team.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I do think it's an advantage when the city council's diverse. You know, a lot of times people have different backgrounds and bring different knowledge and expertise to it. So that's kind of a good thing, actually.
Well, you came into this knowing an awful lot, and your background helped a bunch. But I'd like you to talk a little bit about the Municipal League and how that plays a part, because I know you were there last week.
Yeah, yeah, it just happened right after we started. The Arkansas Municipal League usually has meetings down in Little Rock twice a year, usually in January or February, and then there's one in early summer. And what they do is they put on seminars in different areas that would be of interest to people or importance to people working for the city. And it's especially noticeable when you're brand new. You know, we had a couple councilmen that just got elected for the first time.
And they went with you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it is voluntary that you attend that. You know, in the time I was on city council, I went every time. I never missed. And we had 5 of our 6 councilmen go, plus our city clerk. So
Bella Vista made a big show.
yeah, yeah. So that was very nice. You know, one thing we did when we first got sworn in on January 2, basically they give you a space of a few hours to go get sworn in, and usually people just go on down when they like. And I got all the council and city clerk organized, so we'd all go down at once and get sworn in. You get sworn in one at a time by a judge, but then we had a group picture taken together. And then when we went down to the Municipal League, you know, you end up spending some time together, sitting together at the different seminars. And so it was kind of nice. You know, I could feel the energy in the group and kind of team building a little bit. So I had a really good feeling about it after the Municipal League was over.
So what exactly is the Municipal League? Is that a set of rules for the state? Is it governance for cities? What is it?
Well, it's actually an organization that it was actually started, the Arkansas Municipal League, around 1920 or so it goes way back. And the idea is that they'll assist the cities in different areas. And one thing they do is they put on these seminars and have different experts talk about different things you might need to know. But another thing they do is they have different programs. For instance, they'll have a program for health insurance or auto insurance or different kind of things you might need. One is legal defense. They have about 10 different programs, and Bella Vista participates in about 3 of them.
Oh.
And one of them we do is the legal defense. For instance, if you had an employee sue you, they actually would provide the attorneys and pay the legal fees and defend the case for you.
So it's kind of a membership? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's really, you know what, you realize when you go down for a while, actually Bella Vista is a little bit bigger city than a lot of them and perhaps a little more sophisticated. But it's really a tremendous help for, think about it, there's towns that have 1,000, 2,000 people and a mayor who's part-time. And, you know, there's a lot of different things you need to do, so their assistance helps you a lot. But even in a city like Bella Vista where people are more sophisticated, it's really helpful, some of the areas they go into and you know, advise you and tell you things. So, but I've always felt like, I really noticed it when I was on council. You feel like you get the most out of it when you're brand new, because you know
Yes.
everything's new to you, and there's so many new areas and a lot of things you might not think about. So it's really helpful that way.
So the experts, or excuse me, the people that give the training and the seminars, they're experts in the community, in the state, or do you all present? Do you ever present anything, for example? Would you ever be there teaching anything?
Oh, well, sometimes they'll have somebody from a city that might be a speaker. And a lot of times in some of the presentations, they'll have maybe a panel, and they'll have mayors or council people from different cities on the panel. But normally it's people, you know, who'd be more experienced and whatnot. And a bunch of people who work for the Municipal league have expertise in certain areas, and they'll also get outside speakers in. Some of them are nationally known speakers and whatnot. So it's a pretty, and it just takes, it's 3 days, 2 nights, and it's really pretty interesting, some of the things they cover. It makes you think about things and make sure, might bring things up you hadn't thought of. So it's almost a comfort in a way. And, they have a legal staff, and of course we have our own city attorney. But if you have any kind of situation you're concerned about, you can call down and talk to them about it for free. And, if your city's a member, and they'll give you advice. And the advantage to that is a lot of times, because they cover all these different cities, they've seen a lot of things, and have seen more different things than anyone at one particular city would have. So you're getting the advantage of their experience that way.
So were any of your neighboring mayors there? Do a lot of our you talked about some cities are really small and all of that. Did we have?
Yeah, that's another thing, is you do have time between sessions where you get to meet some of the people and know some of the people. There's a bunch of mayors from this area that actually I'd gotten to know already in the past because of going down there and seeing them. So quite a few of the local people will be there, Northwest Arkansas people.
You mentioned earlier that some cities are small and they don't have the complexity of like Bella Vista, and I know there are other cities that are even more complex. But you mentioned this is not a part-time job for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very full-time. In fact, I was involved in a lot of different organizations and activities. And I resigned from those things after I won the mayor's job. I resigned from teaching at University of Arkansas and resigned from that county position, Board of Equalization. And I was on the Advertising and Promotion Commission. I resigned from that. And pretty much got off most of the various boards I was on, because I'm expecting this to be a real challenging, time-taking position. I wanted to devote myself totally to it.
Yes.
So.
Well, like you said, you're starting off in pretty good shape, but can you kind of tell us, what do you see happening? What are you working on? What's going to happen over the next several months that we could be watching?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. As you know, the police are moving to the new public safety building, and that's going to happen more or less in January and February. We think they'll be completely in there by March 1, certainly, and in fact, mostly even before that. And at some point, the city council meetings and work sessions will be moving over there, because there's a new courtroom facility there. And of course, the court itself will move there. People who go to court in Bella Vista will be going over there instead. So they're going to move in there, and that's going to free up the building they were in. And our plan, which actually we talked about at the work session last night, is to refurbish that building. Of course, Fire Station number 1 is already located there, but the living quarters for the firemen are very inadequate. So we're going to work on fixing those, and they're also going to fix the bays there. That's an older building. In fact, they were talking about when that was built, and it was 1969.
Kind of right when it used to be an old POA building.
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah. So the bays are too small. They're going to have more bays for fire trucks and make them a little bit bigger, the doors and everything bigger. And so that's going to be an ongoing project. It'll take at least a couple years. We're going to do it in stages, and it's going to be some expense to it for sure. But I think it's going to make the Fire Station number 1 a much better situation, and it'll be it's a nice central location, so it's good for them as far as coverage. And I think will be good for years to come once we get that fixed up. But that's one of the first things that's happening. But there's a lot of different things happening. We still are working on the Fire Station training tower, which is up north.
Yes.
And that should be done later in 2023. So, and of course, there's all the usual things. I just this morning met with the head of the streets department, Mike Button, and we're figuring out what streets we're going to pave and put slurry on and that kind of thing. And I feel real good about the job street department's done the last few years in working to improve the streets.
Oh, it's so nice to go somewhere and come home to Bella Vista and see good roads with markings and everything.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm very proud of what you can't do it all.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of roads here. But what you can do, you guys, I think everybody's done a great job.
Yeah, Mike actually told me something interesting this morning. We've always said we have 550 miles of roads. And he said, well, now actually we have over 600 miles because of the new construction.
Oh, yeah.
All the new houses being constructed. Some of the roads have been revitalized, I guess, brought back from the dead, you'd say.
Yes.
So I didn't realize we'd gotten up over 600 miles. So it's a big challenge to keep those up. But, and I do appreciate feedback from the people. People will tell me, hey, we could use the stripes redone on such and such a road. People really appreciate, you undervalue that striping at night. People really appreciate how much it helps them see the road.
It does.
Yeah, so.
Helps a bunch. Is there any, and if you can't talk about it right now, that's okay, but a lot of people are curious about, will City Hall ever move, or is it going to stay right where it is for now, or what's up?
Well, that's a good question. There was a tentative plan to move City Hall over where community development is, in the area where the court is right now. But the cost of refurbishing that area, it was $200,000, and we don't own the building, so after we refurbished it, we'd have to pay rent. And so I decided to keep City Hall where it was because it's centrally located, and it saves the city the $200,000 and the rent. I didn't like the idea of having to pay rent when we don't have to pay rent now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I met with the fire chief, and I wanted to make sure he was happy with the room he had there, and we'd be able to work everything out, and we are. So that's our plan for now, is that City Hall is going to stay where it is.
Okay, because a lot of people are wondering that, and you don't really have a lot of traffic in City Hall anyway, right? I mean, people aren't coming in there all the time.
Yeah, nowadays there's so many different things you can do online and whatnot. It's a lot less of we have to go into City Hall to do this or that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So.
Okay, well, what do you see? Let's talk a little bit about some of the Planning Commission is working on a bunch of recommendations to the City Council to rezone a lot of the existing spots here in Bella Vista that probably weren't zoned correctly for the use anyway. So I know that's why you had a full agenda last night, and you're going to be voting on maybe just correcting some of those things to be realistic with the use of the property.
Yeah, one of the things we've found, and a lot of those are POA related. A lot of the POA facilities were zoned in a certain way, usually P1, which means preservation or conservation, and the use of the facility was inconsistent with that.
Right.
So they'd have perhaps a restaurant in there, or the driving range, different things like that. And the POA actually identified, I think they have at least 20 properties, maybe a little more, that were zoned improperly. And we had 4 of them on the agenda last night, so we're going to try to work through those and get them zoned correctly. The other thing that's happening in 2023 is we have in the budget to have an outside consultant come in and look at the zoning in the whole city, and try to adjust it to be as good as it could be, and as accurate as it could be, and hopefully position us well for the future also.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I know that when we became a city, that there was a time crunch, and a lot of those zoning issues were done as good as they could be at the time. And now, with some experience and a little time under our belt, we're seeing that we want it to be, those are the kind of things that you work on all the time. You don't put something in a law or not a law, what do you call it, an ordinance.
ordinance, yeah, sure.
And then expect it to be good for 30 years. You keep working on those things, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, a lot of hard work's gone into it. A lot of things have been done well, but yeah, it's good to look back at things and see, hey, we could do this a little better, or maybe we need to adjust this or that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And some of those zoning things, with especially the POA, I know that nothing new is going to happen there. Nothing is changing.
Yeah.
It's just getting it in line with what's there now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Well, let's see. Quickly, if you can, because I know it's a big subject, let's talk a little bit about the short-term rentals and what you got finished and what's yet to finish. Can we do that?
Sure. Yeah. In December, we passed the new ordinance about short-term rentals, and it'll go into effect, I believe, technically in late February. And the community development is getting ready for that, getting applications together. And they put out a really good one-page informational sheet that kind of summarizes, what the situation is, what you need to do, that sort of thing, that I thought was really effective. And so that's what we have right now. Jim Wozniak offered one amendment to it last night because there was a little glitch in one part of it. It wasn't exactly what that he had a special committee that was working on it. It wasn't exactly what they'd wanted. So it's just a minor change. And, that's an ongoing situation that we may look at and adjust here and there over time. But for now, we just want to get it put in place and see how the situation plays out. And I think it was probably a pretty good middle-of-the-road solution. We're trying to be fair to the people who own short-term rentals, and on the other hand, protect people who are homeowners and were concerned about them or felt they were impinging on them in some way. So we're just trying to do something that's reasonable and fair to all concerned and good for the city and good for the residents.
Because we do want people to come here and visit, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But there has to be that balance of protecting what's ours and all of that. So I know that not just with Bella Vista, but all over the United States right now, cities are working on that. It's kind of it's not a new phenomenon, but it kind of is. We don't have hotels here.
Yeah.
And we do want people to come, and a lot of times that is supplemental income for folks that own those Airbnbs and things like that. So
yeah, and a lot of the owners came to our meetings and expressed their feelings about that. Perhaps it had to do with their retirement income, different things like that. So yeah, it did kind of cast a spotlight on the fact that it would be good if Bella Vista was able to get a hotel, and that's one thing I would like to see
you
happen.
going to do that for us?
Yeah, well, I'll try.
Okay. Well,
but there's an awful lot of people feeling that that's the right thing to do. It's not going to take the Airbnb thing away, but it's just a demand for people to come here and visit. And, it's interesting. Some of the Airbnb owners or short-term rental owners I spoke to, they said, I put this in, I thought it was all going to be people coming here to bike, but a lot of people who come are coming here to visit relatives.
Exactly.
Or coming here for a wedding or different things like that, and just need a place to stay that's convenient. So.
Or somebody that's going to move here,
yeah.
but maybe before their house is built or whatever, to get kind of familiar with everything. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, a lot of talking about a hotel. I know that's not as easy as it sounds, or it would have already been done. But wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a kind of a specialty, almost a Bella Vista centric or something, a little hotel rather than just a chain?
Yeah.
You
Yeah, sure.
Historical or,
Yeah.
whatever.
One thing I think about, not just with hotels, but with a lot of things, people always think about hitting a home run. And, sometimes you can hit 4 singles and accomplish the same thing.
You can.
And,
Good point.
you can have smaller, really, unit type things and have several of those, and maybe that's just accomplishes the same thing as a hotel,
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say to your audience today? I know you're going to be back every month.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us about financials. You're going to tell us about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you like to say to your citizens today?
Well, thanks for giving me that opportunity. I'd just like to say that I'm going to try my very best, and we're very interested in doing the best for all the citizens in Bella Vista. I think it's very important to represent everybody. And if you have concerns or things you care about, don't be reluctant to communicate those. We want to be transparent, and we want to communicate with people and have them communicate with us. Because, a lot of times people assume you know what the problem is, and it's best to hear from people. Mm-hmm. And you learn a lot that way. So I'm very interested in always getting feedback from folks on how they think things are going, what they'd like.
Well, and I think on a personal level, being one of the citizens in the group, I love it at city councils and work sessions and all that, when people come up to listen and to talk. And, well, they can't really talk at the work session, but, find out what's going on, educate themselves instead of making assumptions about things that may not be that way,
Yeah.
So would you say you encourage people to come to the council meetings?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, anything you can do to get info. And, one of the things we're working on, as you know, is getting into a situation where the council meetings and the work sessions are streamed live. And we're working actually with the TV station when we're in our new location, which will be very soon.
Yes.
In perhaps as soon as March. But we're working on getting that kind of situation in place where it'd be convenient for the citizens if they can't come to the meeting, and they could still see it and see what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, because
yeah.
a lot of people are have families at home and kids and all of this, and not only live stream but recording the sessions. I want to remind everybody that one of the things the TV station does is record the city council meeting, so you can watch this anytime, anywhere on YouTube. Later, same day, whatever.
Yeah.
The other part of that is there are other things that are going on. The Planning Commission, I know, lately has had a lot of an audience. And that's good, because that Planning Commission is where the public hearings are heard.
Yeah.
And we work out the details and make recommendations to the council, so that part's done before it gets to you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the website. You do have some really good information out there on the City of Bella Vista website.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that that'll get even better, and we can get people educated. Yeah?
Yes, that would be great.
All right, John. Well, unless you have something else you'd like to say today, I think we've done a pretty good wrap-up of what's going on.
Okay, well, if we have time, I'd like to mention one more thing.
Okay.
I just got an invoice the other day, and it's not a big amount of money, but it's a bill having to do with elections, and it's based on how many people voted. And what really caught my eye is, now granted, Bella Vista had a mayoral election, some of the other cities didn't, but it was a statewide election, there was governor, a lot of state issues, important things. Anyway, the bottom line is Bella Vista had something like 15,100 people vote.
Wow.
But this is what's so shocking. Bentonville had about 15,500. Rogers had 19,000. And we had way more than anyone else. But, you know, Bentonville's way larger
Yes.
than Bella Vista. And the fact that we had as many people vote as they did, I thought was just amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And even Rogers, we were, you know, not that much lower. So I was really impressed with our participation rate, is bottom line.
Thank you for sharing that. That's good to know. It certainly is. So, okay. So this was our first version. This used to be the Mayor's Wrap, but now we have a new mayor. So our show, In with Flynn, will be every month. And John will come back and, excuse me, Mayor Flynn. Well, I'm going to have to work on those words. It's for 8 years we've said Mayor Christie. So the mayor will come back, and this is where you can catch up. If you can't go to the council meetings, all of that, this is where you can kind of catch up on what's going on every month. So thank you so much. I'm very proud that you won, and I wish you the best. And thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
Thanks.
See you next month, Bella Vista.